Yeah, Bayard and I left together, and it was real early. Must have been probably 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. And we went out to the mall, and there was literally no one there. And Bayard looks at me and says, "You think anybody's coming to this?" And just as he said that, a group of young people from the NAACP chapter there came over came on the horizon. And then from that time, the flow was steady.
The people were already marching. It was like saying, there go my people, let me catch up with them. So what we did, the 10 of us grabbed each other's arm and made a line across the sea of marches, and we started walking. And the people literally pushed us, carried us all the way till we arrived near the Washington Monument, and then we walked on to the Lincoln Memorial.
It was the best group of human beings you ever saw in your life. I mean, it was totally integrated. It had tremendous goodwill. People were coming from all over the country. They had banners which said, Jacksonville this, Iowa that, this union, freedom now, but with tremendous good spirit.
I'd never been to a march as large as this before. I don't think anybody had ever been to a march that large before. This was the biggest civil rights march in American history up to that time and since that time. There's never been anything like it. But you can't look out and say, oh, I bet there are 200,000 people here. You don't know, but it's a lot more people than you ever thought you'd see. So I knew this was something big, but I didn't know how big it was.
We had no idea it would be that many people and look like as far as you could see, there were heads. I mean, what I called a sea of people, because all you could see was people. Everywhere you looked, every area, they were just in mass, just heads.
And that was a sight far beyond anything one would have dreamed of in civil rights. One just didn't dream of that kind of a mass crowd for any cause.
Then I looked to my left. I saw many young people in the trees trying to get a better view of the podium. Then I looked straight ahead, and I saw so many people, so many. I saw people with their shoes off, their feet in the pool, in the water, trying to cool off. And I said to myself, this is it. And I started speaking.
Then my heart was in my mouth for John Lewis, because there was the 24-year-old, or maybe 23-year-old SNCC leader from Troy, Alabama, who I don't know the largest crowd he had ever spoken to up until that point, but it certainly wasn't 250,000. He had rehearsed the speech he was going to give, and he had to negotiate ultimately right behind the podium on the Lincoln Monument, that they had taken out some of the lines.
And of course, when Dr. King spoke, he just commanded the attention of everybody there. His speech with this slow cadence at first, and then picking up speed and going faster and faster. Just saw what a magnificent speech maker he was, and you knew something important was happening. And again, you didn't know how important, but you knew something important was happening.
Martin Luther King's speech, I mean, there was nothing else. You forgot everything else almost, because he had the ability to lift an audience as an orator like nobody else could. And he peaked that day.
It was the moment that America got the question answered that had been asking since 1955. What do these Negroes want? And I think that King's speech answered that question. It answered the question by saying, I have a dream that's deeply rooted in the American dream. So that King said that what we want to do is fulfill the promise of the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution.
As I think about the program was full of tour de force speeches and songs. Mahalia Jackson, I remember being just slain by her.
After the march was all over, President Kennedy invited us back down to the White House. He stood in the door of the Oval Office and he greeted each one of us, shook our hands. He was like a beaming, proud father. You could see it all over him. He was so happy and so pleased that everything had gone so well. And he would say to each one of us, you did a good job, you did a good job, you did a good job. And when he got to Dr. King, he said, and you had a dream.
It showed how determined black people were, and you knew that most of the people there, most of the black people there had come over a great distance at some great sacrifice.
We had been patient enough. We've been here since 1800s. We didn't have any more time to waste. 100 years, 300 something, no. We hit the streets to show America what she was doing to a segment of her population. And once you put it out there, America can't deny it. And that was our goal.
When I look back on it now and think of all the marches I have been involved in since, and how marches have become virtually routine, marches with almost as many, sometimes more than the 250,000 we had at the March on Washington, I am all the more impressed with the genius of Bayard Rustin. I do not believe that there was another person, perhaps, I don't know, certainly involved with the movement, who could have organized that march.
The March on Washington represents one of the finest periods in American history. It was the best of America. People were using their First Amendment right to petition their government, and the government responded. It took a little time to get the Civil Rights Act of '64, but if it hadn't been for the March on Washington, I'm not so sure we would have been able to get the Civil Rights Act passed so quickly.
My job was giving Coca-Colas to the movie stars. And my major memory of the March on Washington is not Dr. King's speech. It's giving a Coca-Cola to Sammy Davis Jr. He said, "Thanks, kid."